An illustration of the difference between union and non-union retirement accounts over the course of a career. This is John and this is James. John is non-union and James is a member of IBEW Local 666. They are both journeyman electricians. For the sake of comparing apples to apples, we will say that they are both 25 years old. Both of them have $0 in their retirement account today. They both work 40-hour weeks, 50 weeks a year, with no overtime. They will receive no raises over the course of their career. Each averages 6.8% annual return in their retirement accounts. John makes $25 an hour with a 401k with a 4% company match, which he is maxed out. James, being a journeyman in IBEW Local 666, makes $32.44 an hour, and $7.04 an hour over and above his pay is put into his defined contribution retirement account. In year one, John puts $4,000 in principal into his 401k, and James puts $14,080 in principal into his defined contribution retirement account. They both get 6.8% interest, so at the end of year one, John has $4,272 in his 401k, and James has $15,037.44 in his defined contribution account. In year two, they each start with what they had at the end of year one, obviously. They each add the same amount of principal as they will every year, $4,000 for John and $14,080 for James. They each get 6.8% interest again, as they will each year. So at the end of year two, John has $8,834 in his 401k, and James has $31,097.43 in his defined contribution retirement account. This pattern will continue over the course of both of their careers. By year six, James breaks into the six figures, and John still has less than James had at year two. In year 12, James has over $250,000 in his defined contribution retirement account. By year 15, John and James both turn 40, and John has finally broken into the six figures. At year 18, James reaches the $500,000 mark. At year 23, James has over $750,000 in his defined contribution retirement account. John is still under $250,000. Here at year 25, John and James are both turning 50, and John is breaking $250,000 for the first time, which James did 13 years ago. Year 26, James reaches $1 million. At year 31, there is now more than $1 million difference between John and James's retirement accounts. In year 32, James got over $100,000 in interest alone in his retirement account, as he will for the remainder of his career. In year 34, John finally breaks the $500,000 mark. In year 36, James reaches the $2 million mark. And here we are at year 40. John and James are both 65 years old, and they are going to retire. James has over $2 million more than John has. That is what you're leaving on the table when you work non-union.